You open your banking app on a Tuesday night. The numbers are fine. Actually, better than fine. You've done the work. Higher income, some savings, a 401k that's finally moving. And yet, something underneath it doesn't feel right. A quiet weight you can't quite locate. Like the math says you're winning, but your body says otherwise. If you're somewhere in your early to mid-30s, you've probably already brushed up against it. A strange, invisible ceiling that money alone refuses to break. I call it the 30-something money wall, and almost every thoughtful, high-functioning adult hits it eventually. It doesn't show up as a crisis. It shows up as a low hum of dissatisfaction in the middle of a life that looks great on paper. You earn more than you did at 25, yet somehow you don't feel proportionally safer or freer or calmer. That gap between income climbing and inner security flatlining is the wall, and tonight I want to show you exactly what's behind it. Because once you see it clearly, you stop fighting the wrong battle, and you start building the kind of wealth that actually settles you. The first thing to understand is how this wall builds itself, quietly, one small upgrade at a time. While you're not watching, you get a raise, a real one, maybe 10 or 15,000 more than last year. The first month it feels like breathing room. The third month it feels like baseline. By the sixth month, it's just the floor. That's not weakness. That's a well-documented human pattern called lifestyle creep, and it's almost surgical in how it works. Your nervous system adjusts to comfort faster than your savings can adjust to your income. You don't choose it, it just happens. A nicer apartment, a car payment that makes sense for where you are now, a few subscriptions you forget you signed up for. None of these feel reckless. That's the trick. Each one feels earned. Each one feels rational. Each one feels small. And small is exactly how walls get built, brick by brick, decision by decision, without anyone announcing the project. Now layer in something most 30-year-olds underestimate, the cost of looking like an adult. There's a quiet pressure in your 30s to appear stable, not rich, just settled, just visibly on track. So you upgrade the wardrobe a little, the apartment a little, the vacations a little, the dinners out a little. And every upgrade is defended with the same sentence in your head: I work hard, I deserve this. You do work hard. You probably do deserve it. That's not the problem. The problem is that deserve becomes the only filter, and future you never gets a vote in the meeting. Future you is quiet. Future you doesn't text. Future you isn't standing next to you at the restaurant, so future you loses every round. This is the first decoding most people miss. The 30-something money wall isn't really about money. It's about whose voice gets to spend it. When present you holds the entire microphone, the wall grows. When future you gets even a small seat at the table, the wall starts to crack. Then there's the second force pushing on the wall, the comparison engine, and in your 30s it runs hotter than at any other age. You're watching people you went to school with buy homes, start companies, have kids, renovate kitchens, take trips you can't quite swing. You're happy for them, mostly, and also somewhere in the back of your mind, a scoreboard is running that you never agreed to play on. That scoreboard is dangerous because it doesn't measure your actual financial health. It measures the visible surface of other people's choices. You can't see their debt. You can't see their family help. You can't see their stress levels at 2 in the morning. You only see the kitchen island, the new car, the smiling photo from the resort, and your brain quietly files it as behind. A healthy money mind asks, am I closer to my own targets than I was last year? A trapped money mind asks, am I keeping up with them? Those are completely different questions. One builds wealth, the other builds walls. Now let's talk about the number that quietly haunts most 30-year-olds, the retirement balance. A lot of people in their early 30s have somewhere in the range of a few thousand to maybe 60 or 70,000 saved for retirement. Some have much less. A few have more. Whatever your number is, here's the unsettling part. At 30, the math still works beautifully if you act. At 40, it gets tighter. At 50, the runway shortens fast. That gap between 30 and 50 is 20 years. 20 years of compounding, 20 years that quietly decide whether your 60s feel spacious or claustrophobic. Most people don't feel that math because the consequence is invisible. There's no late fee for undersaving in your 30s. No alert, no red flag in the app. The penalty just shows up later, quietly, as a smaller life than you thought you'd have. That's the cruelty of the wall. Let me pause here for a second, because I want to hear from you. If you're in your 30s or early 40s, I'm genuinely curious where you are with this. Have you felt that quiet gap between your income and your sense of security? Maybe you got a raise this year and noticed it didn't actually feel like more. Maybe you're staring at a 401k balance and doing math you've been avoiding. Drop a comment and tell me where you're at. One sentence, no need to share numbers, just the feeling. Your honesty in the comments helps more people than you realize. Someone scrolling through tonight is going to read your sentence and feel less alone in their own quiet money worry. And if you're further along, late 40s, 50s, looking back at your 30-year-old self, I'd love to hear what you wish you'd understood then. Your view from the other side matters here. Okay, back to the wall. Because there's a layer underneath all this that almost no one talks about. The 30-something money wall is also a meaning wall. And that's why pure financial advice rarely fixes it on its own. In your 20s, money felt like a scoreboard for ambition. More income meant more proof you were going somewhere. The arrow pointed up and that was enough. In your 30s, the arrow stops being enough. You start quietly asking what the money is actually for, and most people have no clean answer. Without a clear for, money just leaks into whatever is loudest. Lifestyle, comparison, avoidance, the path of least friction. This is the advanced nuance most personal finance content skips. The wall isn't broken by earning more. It's broken by defining what the money is supposed to buy in your actual life. Not a generic freedom, not a vague security, something specific, a version of 45-year-old you that you can actually picture. When you can see that person, spending decisions start sorting themselves. The brain finally has a reason to say no to the small upgrades. Without that picture, every dollar feels equally allowed. With it, your money develops a spine. Now let's talk about what a healthy relationship to the wall looks like versus a trapped one, because they can look almost identical from the outside. The trapped version says, I'll get serious about money once I earn a little more, then earns more and resets the threshold and never quite arrives. The healthy version says, I'll get serious now at this income and let future raises accelerate a system that already works. Same person, different operating system. The trapped version treats saving as the leftover afterlife. The healthy version treats saving as a fixed bill that life adjusts around. The trapped version checks the accounts when anxiety spikes. The healthy version checks on a calm schedule and lets the numbers be boring. Boring is underrated here. Boring is what wealth actually feels like up close. Drama and wealth do not live in the same house for long. Here's where I expect a fair objection. You might be thinking, Leo, I can't outdiscipline a real income problem. The math just doesn't work yet. That's fair. And sometimes it's true. There are income levels and cost of living combinations where the wall is structural, not behavioral. But for most people watching this, the honest answer is somewhere in between. Part of the wall is math, a bigger part is pattern. The way to tell the difference is simple. Track every dollar for 60 days, not to judge yourself, just to see. Most 30-somethings who do this discover $300 to $800 a month they cannot explain and don't actually enjoy. That money is the wall in cash form. Redirecting even half of it, automatically, before it touches your checking account, changes the slope of your next 20 years more than any raise ever will. That's the part that feels unfair. The small, boring move beats the big, exciting one almost every time over long horizons. Let's talk about the social side of this, because the wall has a relationship component people rarely name. If you're partnered, money in your 30s stops being a solo project. Two nervous systems are now reacting to the same numbers, often in opposite directions. One of you wants to feel safe. The other wants to feel alive. Both are valid. Both are exhausting when they're not on the same page. Couples who break the wall together usually share one habit. They have one short money conversation a month. Calm, scheduled, not during a fight. Couples who reinforce the wall avoid the topic until a bill, a balance, or a blow-up forces it. By then, the conversation is already on fire. You don't have to fix everything in one talk. You just have to make the talk normal. Frequency beats intensity here, every single time. And if you're single, the same principle applies internally. You schedule a calm date with your own numbers before they ambush you. Now, here's something almost no one tells 30-year-olds. The wall has a gift inside it, if you're willing to look. Hitting this wall in your 30s is actually the best possible timing. It hurts just enough to wake you up, while the math still has decades to work in your favor. People who hit it in their 50s hit it harder. The wake-up is louder, the runway is shorter, the choices are narrower. You, at 30-something, feeling that quiet hum of unease tonight, are not behind. You're exactly on time. The discomfort is the alarm clock, not the verdict. What you do in the next 3 to 5 years matters more than almost anything you'll do financially after 50. That's not a guilt trip. That's an invitation. Set the boring systems. Automate the savings. Define the picture of future you. Have the calm money talk. Track the leaks for 60 days. Do those 5 things and the wall doesn't disappear. It just stops being a wall. It becomes a doorway you've already walked through. If any of this landed for you tonight, do me a small favor. Tap that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach other 30-somethings quietly fighting the same wall in silence. If you're new here, subscribe and turn on the bell. We do calm, honest money psychology on this channel. No hype, no shouting, no fake gurus. And in the comments, tell me which part hit hardest. Was it lifestyle treep, the comparison engine, the retirement math, the meaning wall? I read them. Thank you for showing up tonight and doing the inner work on your money. Most people scroll past videos like this. You sat with it. That matters more than you think. Next time on the channel, we're going deeper into the exact picture of future you that breaks the wall for good, the simple mental exercise that quietly reorganizes how you spend, save, and decide. Because once you can see that person clearly, your money stops drifting, and the wall you hit tonight becomes the floor you build everything else on.